Howdy folks, I'm Tex, and this is the Movie Shack. Well folks, today old Tex is going to be handing the hosting reins over to somebody else. Someone who I think is a little bit better versed in the subject matter of the next few films we're going to be watching. Quite frankly, kind of lives and breathes this sort of thing, so I think he'd have a lot more interesting things to say about him than I probably would, because as much as I enjoy these films, I don't have as much of background information to say about him as someone who's really passionate about this sort of thing, you know what I mean? Alright, so without any further ado, allow me to introduce my cousin. Just flew in this morning from San Diego, Mr. Bill Snerd. Bill, you're on. Come on. I think he's a little camera shy. Hold on a second, folks. Get in there.
Tex? Jeez, don't you be so violent. Hi, folks. Bill Snerd here, fresh from San Diego, to talk to you about some of Sean McLean's earliest forays into the world of science fiction. One of my favorite things ever. Okay, so before we get into the first film that we're going to see today, we need to take a look back in time. Sherman set the Wayback Machine for 1976. Okay, so here we are, 1976, and what comes out? You're a little kid, there's this new line of toys called the Micronauts, and it's the coolest thing ever. What was so cool about the Micronauts? Well, basically, it was a line of toys with interchangeable parts. What that means is, you could take the parts from one of the Micronauts and rip it off, but it's okay, you're not breaking it, it's supposed to do that, and put it onto another Micronauts toy. Cool. So there were limitless possibilities for how many different configurations you could make with all the different Micronauts parts. Okay? So, here's the thing. Most of us are familiar with the plethora of 80s cartoons based on notable toy lines of the era. Why are there no cartoons based on 70s toys, you may ask? I hear you asking.
Come on, Bill. Time's a-wasting.
Well, the reasons for that is very simple. There were laws in place that prevented such things. However, those laws did not prevent comic books being made based on toys. So throughout history, I mean, you could go all the way back to the 30s, and you see comics and stuff based on toys. So that was okay. So, the Micronauts had an epic comic book series penned by legendary comics based on toys guy Bill Mantlo. Well, he did some superhero stuff too, but that was sort of what a lot of people remember him for. Myself in particular. Rom Space Knight was just amazing.
Dang it, Bill, get to the point.
Sorry. Okay, anyway, so the Micronauts ran for 59 issues. It was very cool. It was a great comic. I have every issue in 9.2 to 9.6 grade CGC toons. So, and you can't see them. They're mine. So, and then after that series ended, it actually did have something of a finite ending, which was pretty cool. But I guess, you know, it was one of those cases where the comic book far outlived the toys, even though the toys did have several waves to them. And so they did a follow-up series called Micronauts: The New Voyages, which was very cool, and it ran for 20 issues.
Movies, not listen to you ramble on about comic books.
Sorry, Tex. Okay, so anyway, there was no Micronauts cartoon or movie or anything, but there was the comic books and the toys. Not to be outdone, and clearly wanting some kind of dramatic film adaptation of his beloved toys, Sean McLean took it upon himself to break his toys out of the toy room and set them free into stop-motion animated life. So he did his own epic Micronauts movie. And one of the reasons I've talked so long in this part is because the first part is really short. I noticed that Tex did that with the race, so I decided to essentially do the same thing here. So in the lack of film, there's at least not a lack of useful information that you can bring up randomly at parties. Okay, so anyway, here is part 1 of Sean McLean's epic adaptation of the Micronauts. Let's watch.
What's happening? Turn off! Okay, is it all clear for a landing? Good. You hear him, let's go. I wonder if the secret weapon is ready yet. Hello. I have something you might be interested in. Watch. I am duly impressed. Okay, I'll see you back at the base. Bye. Whoa. To be continued.
Wasn't that just great? Now, there's a few things you may have noticed if you were at all a fan of the Micronauts franchise like I am. First off, a Croyer, who was very much a hero with a tormented past in the comic books, and I think a hero in the toys. It's been a while since I looked at them, I don't remember exactly. But he was the villain's right-hand man in Sean's movie. So, okay, we can let that one go, because I think he just made him a villain because he has that cool kind of devil horn helmet, and he's got a knife and all kinds of cool stuff, so he just kind of made it for a good villain, I guess. So, anyway, and then you may also recall that in both the toys and the comics, the primary villain was actually Baron Karza. And instead, in Sean's movie adaptation, we have just some generic black robot guy. It's not meant to be racist at all. I'm just referring to the color of the robot. Now, Baron Karza was also black in shade, and so I guess Sean picked that sort of generic robot because he didn't actually have the Baron Karza toy, so he just picked sort of the closest visual equivalent to it that he could. So, anyway, I thought it was pretty good as an adaptation, and, you know, it's not so bad because, you know, a lot of adaptations of things done now take a lot of liberties with the storyline and whatnot, so it's really not that big of a stretch when you think of it and just sort of think of it in terms of the trends of adaptations. So, that's it for part 1. I will see you in part 2, which will be coming, I think, next week. I'm not sure how often Tex does these things. He just shows me the videos when I come over to his place. Alright, so thanks for watching, and this is the Movie Shack with your host, Bill Snerd. See you next time. Oh, hi Tex.
Bill, listen, I understand that you're enthusiastic about the material, but I mean, really, do you have to nerd it up quite so much?
Well, excuse me. If I'm going to give your viewers some actual information, instead of just showing off my NRA poster and calling them commies.
When people start leaving me nasty comments, calling my American pride into question, damn straight I'm going to give them what for.
Oh, is that so?
Yeah.
American, eh?
Of course. I'm as American as it gets.
Through and
You know
through.
that.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you something, Tex. If you're so American, what's with the Union Jack?
What do you mean? I already explained that in a previous episode. It's because I'm a big Dukes of Hazzard fan. Come on.
Really? You said that in an episode? Tex, The General Lee did not have Union Jack on its roof. It had the Confederate flag.
What?
Yes, I'm sure. Tex, this is British. This is the British flag. You have the symbol of Britain over an NRA poster.
Well, yeah, of course it's British. Of course. I love Monty Python, too.
Good answer. Monty Python rocks.
Nothing's funnier than a guy in a dress.